Larry's Pneumatic Service in Bluefield, West Virginia. Got a lot of work to do on the property up here and need to stick around here a bunch in the month of August until it gets done. And before I greet everybody, I see Cope in here, and we're going to do a giveaway with some John Cope stuff, some commemorative stuff for the No Name Nationals. But anyway, who all is here? Lars was here early. We appreciate him as always. He has put up links to Stinger Salvage and Lone Wrench Garage and Indecisive Garage, 3 channels we still have running the No Name 500. And Stinger Salvage is just about home free. He's 47 away. We may be seeing if we can go live with him real soon. And Lone Wrench Garage is about 350-ish subs. He's right in that area. He's getting close. Indecisive Garage, he's still got some ground to make up. So if you've not yet gone over to Tim's channel or the others, go over and check him out. See if you earned your sub. He's got great content over there. A super cool truck. Cool guy. Check him out. We have Russell in here early. We have... What? Does it not sound good? They'll tell me. They'll tell me if it doesn't sound good. Well, let's see. Russell's here. Got Brazil here. Okay. Is anybody else? Do I sound like I'm cutting out, or is it bad sound? Mike's flipping. Okay, that's gonna be that fan. See if Benji can cut that fan. That's exactly what it is. It's because the mic is. I know what this is. I know what this is. I had another report that the sound was bad. Just tell. There's a fan running over there somewhere. He's in the back. That fan is doing it. Is it running? Cut it off. See if that. All right. Tell me, is the sound better now? There's a fan running over here, and I think that might have been doing it. Tell me if that got it. Doesn't sound like it. I'm not sure why. Okay, I got one other idea. Just a second. Okay. Is my sound okay now? Let me know. Okay. Is my sound okay now? Okay. I think my sound is good. I think what it was is I was using the USB-C port on the back of the computer to charge my phone, and I think it was playing havoc with the USB port on the side running my camera. So got to thinking quick on that. So anyway, all right. With that, back to what's important. So Lars is here. Hot Rod Guy Garage Russell is here. Bobby Frizzell will be in and out playing with the new hot rod. Unfinished Project wants to know if Frizzell's making fiberglass bumpers for it. Ginger Vance is here. Danny Boyd, RC Industry, Turbo Tom 416, Slant Daily Garage says, "What's up, suckers?" 6th Street Garage, Big Mike of the Hoopty Barn. Cope's got his anchor there, which means he is probably lake bound today. Who's going to the Nationals? Are you going to the Nationals? All right, now let's skip past about 100,000 Darth Vader bad sound comments. Mike is messed up. Weed Eater's back in the speaker, all of that. My Aunt Nancy says hello. Back to all the comments telling me how bad the audio is. We got it. We got it. Lars is at football, but he'll be in and out. Thank you, sir. Twisted Dennis is here. Colleen Tebow, Buffdale Campo, JB's Little Shop, Brian Beeler of the Auto Round 'em Up fame, Big Block 402. Let's see here. Bob Taylor. He says, hello, John. Just got home from a cruise in. Yes, your voice is not clear. By the way, Bob, this is where I was not an hour ago. Downtown Bluefield, Virginia has a car show monthly here, and they had some cool stuff. I'm going to be putting some shorts up on my channel. They had a lot of shiny hot rods, older demographic here. Then they had some ratty stuff like this too that's super cool. And I'll be putting up shorts on my channel from some of this. My two favorite cars to show are right across from each other. This sweet 63 Beetle a fella had, and of course, a 69 Roadrunner, which looks almost as good as mine. I mean, he's got some places he needs to touch up, and then it'll, you know, it's got some catching up to do with the Roadrunner. If you know, you know. I sound like the Predator. The sound sucks. Did you have your larynx removed? Got a voice box. Sound like Peter Frampton. Sound like a bear. Lone Ridge Garage is here. Hello, sir. Lone Ridge Garage is surging. He's going to get his 500 subs. Unfinished project thinks it's probably that impact torque tester. Ben's got a torque tester here that'll test impact wrench, I think, over 1,000 pound feet. The one-eyed cat is here. Mean Street Mopar said my heads are still at the machine shop, and they will be till well after the No Name Nationals. Welcome to Machine Shops. That's how it works. All right. Sound is back. I kind of figured that would be the way it would work. But yeah, I'm glad I thought of that it was my phone plugged in that was messing it up. I didn't realize that was a thing. Theoretically, it shouldn't be. Mopars, Mustangs, and minivans. Hello. SRP kind of like the other voice. Yeah, well, probably was an improvement. Levi's Backyard Performance says audio was good. Well, then you missed all the fun. Danny Boyd, remind me what size you wear. I've got a few sun-damaged ones that will be perfect for the junkyard. Machine Shop has a dyno. Usually the people that build them and the people that dyno them have happy dynos. Getting it by the lives. Hey, man, getting it honest, right? Shorts installed. Yeah, the thing is with shorts is you'll do a bunch of them that'll hardly get any. Then you get one that got a bunch. I had a short that got over 1,000 subs last month. You just never know. and you can never predict which ones will do anything. I kind of thought that one from Thunder Ranch, I didn't have any expectations of it. It got 4 million views. Danny Boy got a Headman header for a 300 Ford or 240 inline 6. It's for sale. Don't want it on my truck. He only likes log manifold sound. Headers are too raspy. Okay. All right. 11 Ranch getting him how he can. Right on, man. That will do it. For those of you who did not see my short today of putting a window, this is the fellow who works with me. We're getting rid of the old window in the house. And you see the tree that fell and broke the window. I couldn't get all of it. As soon as I get the rest of the tree, I can finish cutting that grass around it. I've been mowing around it. But what you see, that log, the smaller branches on that log, broke the window. The window was new. The window was only a couple years old. So now I've got $2,000 windows, and the second one came in wrong. So anyway, I am just over everything on that window. Twisted Mopar says 40 days left. Actually, it's 40 days, 3 hours, and 47 minutes, not that anyone is counting. Guys, the No Name Nationals is next month. It's next month. Wrong English is stepping in to say, hey, y'all, at the cat's house. His grinder is ready at Newberry Subs. Got to go for now. See, you must be from up north if you call a sub a grinder. Danny Boyd saw the suggestion and his feed didn't know it was. Yeah. That's Cody. He works for me. Does a great job. He helps me get my work done over at my place over here. Who's counting? I don't have time. That's the right attitude. That actually is the right attitude. Just get it done. The countdown is real. Get busy. That's right. Oh, and so in the world of irony, as soon as I get the radiator in the van today, probably an hour ago, I stopped. I noticed my temperature gauge is just barely creeping up on the CRV. I thought, what is that? And I see a drip of water. Took a flashlight, looked under, traced the water going up, leaking right at the radiator seam. I cannot win. So, but if the factory Honda radiator lasted for 23 years and 371,000 miles, guess what kind of radiator I want to find for it? Where's Tony's Hot Rod? Tony's Hot Rod Garage? He's in Arizona. He's welcome to drop by if he likes. Main Street Mopar says, my heads didn't need much of anything. They're getting the decks trued up in a valve job. I would have gotten them today, but one intake valve had a bad spot that wouldn't grind out. One valve. Okay. At least you didn't just take some used eBay valves and throw in there, and that was that. I've seen that done here on YouTube. Seen a lot of things done on YouTube that I don't think were a good idea. Yeah, got fresh paint going on in that house. It's starting to look good in there, but got him to drywall the ceilings because I don't know what I'm doing with that, but he did a really good job and got both done. So they hustle. It's a husband and wife team, and both of them together are about the same size I am. But they are great. they hustle and do good work and all that good stuff, and that's hard to find in this town. So I definitely want to keep them rolling. Danny Boy says yesterday at the junkyard he scored a delay wiper switch and module, which plug and played right into my truck. Oh, that's cool. That's always good. Coke says, hello, Jenny. I don't see Jenny in here. Twisted Mopar Dennis says, I was really hoping my Dart was going to be ready to go, but just couldn't over the two bad engines deal. Yeah, well, I can see that. Junkyard D said, did I hear my name? I don't know how. 38 Racing says, good evening, folks. Good evening, sir. Glad you're here. And speaking of Cope, I'm going to show you guys something. After I clear the text that informed me my mic my sound is bad. I've got 4 of these to give away. I want to see if I can zoom in so you can see the details here. Got the orange paper with 41 on it, and they're serialized. These are plates for valve bodies, Cope Racing transmissions. I got 4 of these to give away. So we're going to give some of those commemorative plates away. Cope made some today. I thought that was pretty cool. You always wanted to have something that came from Cope Racing transmissions. There's your chance right there. Hello, Crystal Onyx. Thank you for coming by. .38 Racing asks a good question. Is Half Pint going to make it to the No Name National? What number do you get, Wilburn? I don't know. What number should I get? You made 5. I said give 4 away. I think it'd be pretty cool to have one wall hanger there. Colleen wants to know if it comes with a free valve body. I'm sure for a small surcharge it could. It could come with a valve body. I'm sure you could go to the website at coperacingtrans.com and for the right price, I'm sure that could come installed on your valve body. Mohawk has put up a new video of what's needed to pass tech. So go over there and check that out. Miss Colleen, if you have an opportunity, could you post Mohawk's video about passing tech? I have not yet, but I will. I have to talk to Possum. I will be talking to him a lot because, you know, we're 40 days and 3 hours and 40 minutes away. So I will. It's on my list when I talk with him. I haven't talked to him this week, but I will. I've got lots of things to talk with him about, so don't worry about that. This is where it starts really getting nice and busy. Yes, unfinished project, 867-5309. Dizzy's calling Cope out. Cope, I think that your Power Wagon and Dizzy's car wouldn't be a bad race. I don't think that'd be that bad a race. Here's the link to Mohawk's video right here. Unfinished Projects got it. He was lurking. Thank you, sir. Yes, we could do that. That's not a problem. Like I said, we're in the stretch now where we're in the stretch now where I got a lot I got to work out with him. So definitely will. And there's Cope's answer. Brian Barsness is here. Howdy, sir. Yeah, so Mohawk's got a video that he has on passing basic tech. I will say for most people here and most people having questions on, the fact that people have questions on passing tech usually means they're just passing basic tech. And you really want to have the bases covered. Just the basic things. Everybody needs a helmet regardless of ET. That is a change from AHRA. Some tracks don't require a helmet to a certain ET. AHRA requires a helmet at every ET. Okay? Because do remember, even if you have a slow car, especially if you're in a bracket, you could be running a fast car trying to run you down and run you over. So everybody needs a helmet regardless of ET, but there is a lot of leniency on DOT versus Snell helmets. Okay? Radiator overflow, 16-ounce minimum. These type of basic tech things are same for everybody. Battery hold downs regardless of ET. So if you've never raced before, just make sure you have those things covered. It amazes me that we have people ask questions about a cage when their car runs 9s in the 8th and then would show up with no battery hold down, for example. Or they have no seat belts or no lap belt or something. So that's the purpose of that. So make sure that's covered. If you have questions, let me know. Sense versus nonsense, that would be a good way to characterize that, Dizzy. Sure would. Just like this right here. NSB Custom Cars, hello. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate it. Hopefully you guys do not have flooding or hurricanes or anything of the sort this year. I think Deke won't find anything on the S10. Yeah, and Deke is fair, but he's also a little firm too. He wants to make sure that you guys have your stuff together. This is the 4th annual event, and those of you who have been every year, you know the drill. But I will say we also have a very good safety record at the No Name Nationals. So this is not by accident. It's not by chance. It's because we make a good effort. NSB says it's been quiet down here so far, knock on wood. Yes. Twisted Mopar says, we still got a match if I can show up with something. You can show up. Hey, it's a bracket, man. Run your daily. I always like seeing the NSB guys roll in. They're the kind of guys that they are the kind of people who raise morale just being around. Don says, watching from the garage, been out here all afternoon. Weather is cooperating. Are open headers going to be allowed on the parade to Lamberts? I will say that typically, again, I can't speak for anybody in law enforcement or anything of the sort. All I can say is we're typically given slack on that kind of stuff so long as people drive like they're supposed to drive. No speeding, no burnouts. You got to do your part. If you don't, you're on your own. Okay? So I will say that the county's pretty good to us there, but you got to do your part. And I got some negative feedback about people who weren't doing their part last year. So we're going to have a pace car this year. We're going to stay together. There's not going to be any burnouts on the way to Lamberts. You guys are going to do your part. Because you know, you leave the track cleaner than you found it and everything. But and people love the show that you put on at Lamberts and bringing all those cars. It's great. T says, evening, folks. Speaking of safe, got my brand new belts in the dark today. Right on. Looking forward to seeing T. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. I do. But I got an earful Thursday night after we came back. Yes, it does. But I will say that it is a very impressive show. Really, those cars all showing up at Lambert's is a really cool car show. It really is. We bring more than, say, a club would. So Big Mike just wants to keep up with the pace car. The pace car will probably be rolling around 40 miles an hour or so. It's perfect. Tony's Hot Rod Garage. Howdy, sir. He says, what's up? Howdy, Tony. Tony, remind me I need to get with you top of the week about some stuff. So please don't let that slip my mind. I'm getting into that month and change out. Got some details to hammer out. And when Tony and I work on things together, that means good stuff for you guys. RC Industry thinks my old Dodge D100 will do 40 miles an hour. Cool. JB said I'll get to go eat this year. Yes, you will, man. We want you there. Come on out. Probably need a third driver for the cruise. Probably find one. It's all Mohawk's fault? Well, perhaps. Yeah, so for that, I try to give little reminders, different things, top and bottom of the hour, but I'm here in Bluefield. I've got this house. I'll show you guys what I was doing today. I will show you what I was doing today. So, well, I just put this up for those who didn't see it. Out went the window. The storm broke it, bent the frame and all. So we took the sashes out and salvaged it, everything good, and sent that out. But the parts don't match. I mean, which for the amount of money it really needs to. So I've got that. You know, everything is tarped and secured that way. But you see the grass that's right in front of it I can't get to because I've got to finish clearing that log out of there. You know, it's a big mess. All of that looks so nice, and all it takes is one storm, right? All it takes is one storm. Getting the plumbing wrapped up in there. Just put a new faucet on there. New drain. Got the drains all hooked up after the pressure tests on everything. Did the wind break the glass? No, a big tree limb did. And I cut most of it away, but now the rest of it's bigger than the bar on my chain. So I now need to, it'll be a little tough to get the rest of it, but I got about half that big limb. Now I got to get the rest. It's some roof damage too. That's fixed. Roof damage is fixed. Most of the tree limbs cleaned up. Working on the window. It did about $3,000 worth of damage. Tony says his shop has been crazy. I'm sure it has. Tony stays swamped, but he is a hardworking guy. I may bring the Jeep down here next month for the show. It's going to be something like the 10th of September. Let me look and see what day that'll fall on. Even though it's right before No Name Nationals. Yeah, it'll be the 12th of September. I may bring Dad's Jeep. That'll be quite a drive in that Jeep because it's about 60 miles. No, more than that. It's about 75. Levi says, okay, gang, anyone out west out of the Rust Belt have a connection to a 75 to 77 Laguna S3 Landau top trim set? Oh, that just grows on trees. In need of one and will pay good money for a nice set. So there you go. Well, I haven't a clue. I don't even know what that would look like if I saw it because that's out of my wheelhouse of expertise. So Anyway, if anybody can find that, Levi's looking. Levi says we'll pay a finder's fee for anyone who leaves to sale. Just finding that is tough enough. I mean, I don't think this is the kind of people that would ransom you for a finder's fee. It's just a matter of trying to find it. Danny Boyd says the Laguna was that most beautiful colonnade car ever. Is I pronouncing that right? Junkyard D suggests pole barn / buff. Unfinished Project says there's one in Greensboro, Maryland. See, he would know. He finds stuff. Yeah, maybe Connor Lovejoy. He might have something. Someone could have something. There you go. So there's some leads. There's some leads, man. When it comes to that, I have no idea. Levi wants a vacation. Well, I'll tell you, that makes more than one of us. Colleen wants to know if Unfinished Project is coming this year. That's a great question. Jonathan Reed says, thanks for your help with the 76 F100 today. After all testing, it looks like the solenoid. I'll clutch start it, so it must be the solenoid since it won't start otherwise. Well, if you clutch start it, you're not using the starter either. You're not using the starter for that either, man. Well, Levi, if you want to do a cage for Tony, he says he'll cover the ticket. Something to think about. I mean, Arizona's nice in the middle of August. Of course, his part is not like the desert, not like the lower desert, not like Phoenix where it's, 115 degrees this time of year. I would love to do a side-by-side of Jonathan Reed's thumbnail and Danny Boyd's. I mean, look at that. Look at his and look at Jonathan Reed's. That is really close. Danny Boyd says you can test the solenoid by jumping the S post to battery positive. Right. Andy, Unity Motorsports Garage says, howdy, folks. Hello, sir. Mine is much darker blue now. Okay. Turbo Tom says, one more week of work, vacation for 3 days, and 3 parks in Florida. Wow. You'll have a busy time. Dizzy wants to race Cope. He's got his call out there. Andy says he's headed to Florida tomorrow myself for work. Well, be safe, man. Levi says he could get to it in January. He could fly out. He's got airline miles, just no time off work. I could understand that. Yeah, this season's kind of weird for me. It takes a dip right now, right before school starts, and then it picks back up usually right after that. So for me, the early spring is busy. Of course, right now it's busy with different kind of work. Dean Stevenson says, Levi's, not the jeans. No, whatever you do, don't say you have good jeans. We all know that's the end of the world. Levi's, the Jeeps. There was a Levi Strauss package on the Jeeps that had denim seats in it, if I recall. I think that was a thing on the old CJs. Mohawk says, I have great jeans. They did all that complaining about that commercial, and turns out they had a whole series already planned before all the backlash that was going to further, grovel or whatever. Andy's headed to St. Petersburg. Levi's Gremlins said, you know what? I vaguely remember that now that you say that, Danny Boyd. The Levi's Gremlins. That's right. I kind of like those weird special edition cars they did back in the day. Danny Boyd says, my jeans are soaked in gin. Colleen says, I've got Wranglers. Unfinished Project says she has great jeans and a sweet stain. And there's a link to a short. I'm going to put up a few shorts from the car show today. Busy says, my jeans are getting loose, 348 down to 271. Well, congratulations, man. That's significant improvement. That's a lot. What is that, 77 pounds? That's seriously good work. Levi said, Dan, maybe that's why I never have a good year at No Name Nationals. Gremlins. You will break that streak. Andy said, I had a Levi's CJ7 yellow with black hardtop 304 leather. Very cool. There we go. I like that, Andy. You got it. Hey, can you send me a picture of that? That's really neat. Do you happen to have a picture of that? As I recall, they had the seats that were different. That's so cool. The one-eyed cat has done road tripping until the No Name Nationals. I can understand that. How's your car coming, Don? I'm anxious to hear. Bigfoots and Mopar says, my truck is done. Ready for the No Name Nationals. 444 speed and 4x4 fun. Crystal Onyx says, I don't have any good jeans that fit. Dizzy said, another 10th gain. 1/10 of a pound? That's really, that's a swig of water, man. There were Levi's Ford vans too. Huh. Yeah, that was really a thing. Levi's saying there were Levi's Pintos. Yeah, T wants to know if that 435 4-speed in that truck, if he's going to race it, if Bigfoots and Mopar is going to race it. Yeah, I can't see that, but that sure would be interesting. Yes, that is a cool truck. We might have more than one Power Wagon at No Name Nationals this year. Maybe. I knew he'd perk up if I said that. Danny Boyd says, I want an MP435 or Borg Warner T18, T19. I like the MP435. The work truck I drove at Virginia Tech had one. I really wish I could have bought that when it went to auction. I see this, and I wonder what it even goes with. Is Crystal behind? Unfinished projects got up a link to the Power Wagon video. Old McDonald has a car, says sorry he's late, but my basement was flooding. Had a storm cell stalled right over our house. 3 inches of rain in 45 minutes. Yikes! Of course, we're probably gonna get all kinds of rain now because I got a window out. Waited 2 weeks for that window to come in, and it was wrong. And the irony is, it's wrong, but they ordered one just before, not long ago, that was exactly right. All they had to do was place exactly the same order again. Crystal's way ahead. Yeah, she's probably from the future. She probably has a DeLorean. The one-eyed cat Dawn says 80% of the inner fenders are about ready for paint. Need to reproduce a better motor mount. Backyard, it's good enough for now mentality. Okay. Need to reproduce a better motor mount. Okay. I haven't even really looked to see how your engine mounts in there. So for those who don't know, most people in this chat know, but Don has a 62 Valiant with a 440, and I've never really seen how that thing is in there. What do you have? What kind of K-frame and how is that motor even mounted in there, Don? Engine plate will get it done right, but I can't remember how it's in there. Unfinished project says chain it. I don't need to do stuff like that. I can't remember how it's in there, but it's not like he's doing a swap putting this 440 in. It already had a 440 in. The exhaust holds it up as tight as that car is. It almost looks like it. It's getting the old transmission that was in it back in it now. It got a good refresh. Colleen says they're working on it between rain, heat, and work. Fingers crossed. That 440 is just crammed in there. It can't move. No kidding. That 440 looks like it was just melted and poured into that engine bay. There is the before on Don's transmission. It was orange, and that's it. I hope I have the after for Don's transmission handy. I may not. I thought I did. Yes, I do. Here's the after on Don's transmission. We're ready to roll. Turned out great. But I still want to see how it does in the car. Don says it still has a slant 6 cross member in it, but a torch and welder evidently will get the. Oh, yeah. The K-frames had a bunch taken out of it to make that fit, as I recall. So I guess just box it in and make it stiffer and roll with it. Big Fits of Mopar says will represent with the 435 in the bracket truck. That's going to be funny. SRP says he'll be at the Mopar Nationals tomorrow. If you find me and say, hey, SRP, I'll give you a free t-shirt, well, I would have to be there to find you. But there you go, guys. If you find him, he'll give you a free t-shirt. Look on his channel. See what he looks like. Big Hoopty Mike said you'll see a 440 crammed in his current project. 38's all about the torch and welder. Built many great things, which is true. Don says he'll do a documentary on the mounts just for the historians. Cool. Andy says every day I go to work on Casper, the rain starts. Looks, sounds like Casper's got some good upgrades going on. Unfinished Project says if I find an inexpensive bell housing, the W350 will have a big block. Rabbit Transit J says good evening. Hello, sir. No Name Nationals perennial #1. Rabbit Transit J. How many of you guys think I should just lay down on my live streams and just go to sleep for about 20 minutes at a time? I was watching a live stream last week where that happened. No. Oh, come on. It works for some people. I know. We were talking about what some of these people do on their lives. Oh, I'm going to put it on the screen. I don't even know what this is. I've got to find this for you guys. This has got to be the weirdest live stream I have ever seen on YouTube. Let me see if I can find it. I actually recorded just a few seconds of it because I didn't know if it would still be up. It is absolutely officially the weirdest live stream I have ever seen on YouTube. I have no idea. There are no words. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Okay. You can't make this stuff up. This is an actual live stream that was in the feed. So check this out. This is I have no words. Oh, well, I have absolutely no idea what the guy was saying, what he was doing, but for 20 minutes, he sat there with this frame on his head and chanted whatever that was, and you could hear what sounded like shower water running, and I don't know what that is. I have no idea. The guy had about 5,000 subscribers, though. So just know that when you think you see some content on YouTube and you're like, I don't know how I can get any weirder, the weirder side of YouTube than this, you can run into that. He had about 5,000 subs, if I recall. No, I didn't watch for 20 minutes. He was doing that, and I took a little screen capture, and I went back to it, and I saw it was over, but it was like 21 minutes. So apparently he did that, I don't know, for 21 minutes, but I watched for a couple of minutes and recorded it, just kind of like, is this really what this guy's doing? I probably watched for 2 or 3. And I don't know what he was saying, but the comments were hysterical with guesses. Yeah, the comments were just, they were going nuts. Proof people watch? Yes, they will. Yes, they will. Maybe all of his subs are incoherent also. Well, I'm not one of them. I wasn't inclined to hit subscribe, but I did look. I said, how many? This dude had some subscribers. He really did. Of course, Dean. Maybe that is Dean. We never see him. I don't have any idea. Ginger Vance thinks it's a cult. Dean Stevenson says he thinks I am a vice script. I couldn't tell what he was saying. One-Eyed Cat thinks he got stupider from seeing that. 38 Raisins says, I am a biplane. I don't know what he said. I mean, if he said I'm by something, it probably wasn't a biplane. I couldn't tell you. I am a fur train, fun train, fur train. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. But I saw that and I scrolled one down from some other live and it just was getting weird. I saw that, like, okay, I'm out. Bigfoots and Mopars wants to do a Power Wagon versus Power Wagon if Coke brings the Power Wagon. Dean likes it when it's weird. I really don't. I don't. I don't know, 38. I have no idea. Lars thinks that what the guy was saying was like and subscribe and ring the bell for post notifications. I think what he was saying was I'm going to adjust all of the valves without turning the engine between adjustments on each valve, and I'm going to do it half a dozen times for the next 4 years. I think that's what he was saying. Was he sitting on a toilet? No, but it looked like he was in the bathroom. It sounded like it because I could hear shower water running. I kind of didn't want to know what was coming next if something was. There's Jason's Garage. Hello, how you doing? Better life through chemistry, probably. Probably not better, but I would say there was some chemistry going on there. See, here's one of these weird Dean comments that you just don't even know what to do with. Why don't you go over there to his channel? Maybe you two hang out. That thing on his head looked like the top of a light like you would see from the 70s in a house, you know? Wait until the guy that cut the muffler off his Mustang and drives around the second gear goes by. Levi says, I ordered the passenger side seat belts and the bottom half mounting tabs today, getting close to ready for a passenger on the track. Okay. Well, do remember, we cut off passengers at a certain ET. Oh, a lampshade is what I think. Yeah, it would have been a pretty weird lamp. I was thinking it was a little bit bigger. That'd make your subscribers weird too. I don't know. It might be too late for that. I wonder if I can. Well, I won't try it right now. Dean Stevenson said it was a lamp that mined an explosive device. I don't know. Well, we do mean it though. We generally don't allow rides any deeper on stuff that runs down into sixes. Dean thinks he was obviously being held hostage. I don't think so. I clicked on the channel. It looked like he had other weird videos too. I don't know. I don't know. Just strange stuff that you see on YouTube. By what? I don't know. He was another AI robot with a glitch. What, you could think that if you didn't click over there later and saw him moving. Yeah, Ginger thinks he was being held hostage and saw other videos. See, I'm not the only one who thought that. The voices in his head, I don't know. Mohawk thought someone forgot to pick him up. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the deal was with that cat, but it was just a random thing in the feed. I bet that guy could adjust valves. That's a good possibility. Good possibility. In all seriousness, I hope Rich would work on his health. Forget adjusting those valves for the umpteenth time and all that stuff. Stop smoking and lose a little weight, or he will not be around much longer. He sounds absolutely terrible now. He has obviously declined since we've started watching him. So, in all seriousness, I hope old Rich will just stop all this other stuff and work on his health, or he will not be around much longer. That's just it's terrible to think. So someone can rush over there and tell him I said that, and he can go on about me again. He is entertaining, I'll give him that. I think he's hammering hard because he wants to get 1,000 subs. Deke doesn't have a site. The best thing to do is you can email the question to me. I'll copy him on it. Make sure you can copy you on any response. But that said, we had some tech problems with Deke on a live here 2 weeks ago, and I think I know what the problem was. So if I can this week do a tech session sorted out with him, I think I know what the problem was. I can hopefully have him on maybe this Friday. Yeah, maybe he's a normal guy with a bet running on what people will watch. People will watch virtually anything. There are, 44, 45 people watching this. I mean, so. SRP, he's a guy who's had this rotted out 57 Chevy that ran when he got it. And a month after he got it, he put the timing chain on wrong, bent some valves, broke some pistons, and has tried to put it back together and hasn't got it running in the last 4.5 years. That's the quick and dirty of who that guy is. And he has no clue what he's doing. He's from New Jersey. I think he attempts to be unlikable, but we all kind of pull for him, but it is what it is. RC Industry thinks this live is interesting. Well, that's you guys. You guys make this live interesting. Levi says, Tony, you were missing out. I really hope that Rich gets a victory in his life. I'd love for him to see him get that 57 Chevy run. I would be cheering for him. I really sincerely would. I would like to see him work on his health first, because if he doesn't, he will not be around to enjoy that car. He sounds really bad now. But I hope that guy turns it around. I don't know how much faith I have that he will, but I sure hope he does. I think number one, he's got to stop smoking. It's like way past time. He claims he has a stent. I don't know if he does or not, because he said so much other stuff that just wasn't true. But reach out and help him. Dude, we've all tried. But he's smoking with that stent is a huge no-no. And anyway, we wish the best for him. But man, he'll be happier than me to see him actually have that car running and driving. But it will not happen in our lifetime with the current plan. It's going to have to be somebody else. Blue Grid is not a Facebook guy, and neither am I. Yeah, SRP, go for it. Let us know how it goes. Put some stuff on your channel about it. He's a guy who pretended to be interested in the No Name Nationals a few years ago because he wanted the subscribers, and turns out he just is an absolute do-nothing. And we all tried to help him, but we could not. It was not possible. If he knew he would be this much of a topic tonight, he wouldn't, he would be watching. He's not blocked here, but Unfinished Project and I and some others are blocked on his channel. Because he lied one time about having his engine running a couple of years ago, and Unfinished Project and I bet him $100 he couldn't do a short with it running with tomorrow's newspaper, and he blew up. And we never got an apology, and that was 2.5 years ago, and it's still not running. And he still never admitted he just lied. He did. All he had to do was say it's not running. I never did figure out why he couldn't just say that. Tony's Hot Rod Garage had to make an emergency trip to Grand Junction, Colorado Wednesday morning. Hope everything's okay. This group has definitely tried. And then after defecting from this group, he found some real haters out there who he really found out what it was like. It's a shame. It's really a shame. Well, hello, Mater. Thank you for coming by, sir. Dizzy Izzy said, guy here has a 64 Plymouth convertible Hemi car with a 444 speed. Very clean for $22,000. That sounds like a pretty good deal if the car is decent. Hemi car? Is it a real Hemi car? Because for $22,000, it kind of doesn't sound like it. Yeah, I know you're busy, Tony. I just hope you make it here without leaving a brake caliper in Oklahoma again. Yeah, it sounds like a good deal. It's kind of a too good to be true deal. Blue Grid is stressed out looking at that orange note over your left shoulder. It's coming up fast, and I keep running into new problems. The clock and the calendar wait for no one. Dizzy, you haven't bought it yet? No, Dizzy wants to buy that Challenger off of you for scrap plus 10% and move it. You only have to touch it. Dizzy says it's a real Hemi car, dark green with black top and interior, $22,000. Tony says Jason was dragging back a 52 Chevy truck back from Wyoming. Oh my! Is that you talking about that Ford F450 or whatever y'all brought to Sykeston last year? It does sound really nice looking though, black top and interior. B&R Racing is here. Hello, sir. How you doing, Mr. Reeland there? Thank you for coming by. Coming back to the No Name Nationals in 40 days and 2 hours and 54 minutes. Oh, no, that was his 2015 Ram. Oh, okay. Unfinished Project says Chris Birdsong has a clean title 68 Satellite with a 400 for $3,900. Oh, that sounds like a fun car. That sounds like a pretty respectable deal there. If the car's decent. Yeah. 68 Satellite 400. You could just have a lot of fun with that. That window out front becomes pretty entertaining at times. Not as entertaining as it was about 10 or 15 years ago, but it's still interesting. I'd like to see B&R get one of his Pontiacs together and bring it to No Name Nationals. But either way, I hope it turns out. In fact, if you look at his this little avatar here, he's got his Pontiac Ram Air 4 there. So even from the lake, Coke pops open the laptop to watch us here. He's there at Indiana Beach, watching on the laptop. So that's cool. SRP asks if I'm selling Milwaukee tools. I am not. I'm at my friend Ben's shop here in Bluefield. He does repair on air, electric, and hydraulic tools. So if you've got any of your cool old impacts, you know, Snap-on Mac, Ingersoll Rand, like the good old 231 or any of that kind of stuff, or your electric tools, you know, Milwaukee, Makita, stuff like that, this guy fixes them. He repairs that stuff. Hydraulic jacks, I know the shipping would be a lot on that, but he does them. So if you have like a good old Lincoln or Snap-on jack or something that you say, man, that's a good jack, I just wish I could get it repaired and somebody to go through the hydraulics on it, this is the place that does that. And he's second generation. He has had this job since a few days after he graduated high school, working here for his father, and now he owns the place and runs it. So he knows what he's doing. Enormous amount of experience, close to 30 years. And so if you got tools like that, you could potentially send them here, and he could send them back, something like that. Or if you send them, if the timing works out, you can send them to me. I can bring them to you, No Name Nationals. If you're somebody I know that I'm going to see, we could work something like that out. But this is a good place to get that kind of stuff done and serviced. When he rebuilds an air impact for you, it typically will make a little more torque than new. And he has a dyno here on the premises where he tests that stuff. That's Cope's back porch. I wondered if he was in Indiana Beach with the sign. That's his back porch. Okay. That was a new angle. I didn't realize you had that back there. 38 Raisins asking about call-outs with the trash truck. Call-outs. Now is the time. Make your call-outs. That's what the No Name Nationals, that's what it was about. SRP has been to Bluefield on my Harley. Okay. What was your favorite thing here? Old McDonald said, wish I had an extra $3,900 for that 68 Satellite. Well, wish in one hand. Unfinished Project has put up a link here, RIP Kyle. So those of you who don't know, Jeff of Two Hacks Garage, Two Hacks Jeff. The other hack originally was Kyle, his friend Kyle. And Kyle's been in some videos with him. And Kyle lost his life here about a week or so ago. And so anyway, so RIP Kyle, Unfinished Project puts up that link. I haven't seen any media on it other than what I know and from Jeff. Tony's Hot Rod Garage says, I haven't done squat to the truck, but put a bumper on it. The Honey Badger will come to No Name Nationals and probably just sit and look pretty. I don't think I'm going to have time to get the cage done. Levi says, does he do 90-degree 2-inch sanders? I have one that's getting worn. Probably. I think I know what you're talking about, and yes. Yes. Andrew Nelson says, good evening from Team Nivlac 57. Colleen says, RC called out the trash truck. We want to see it. Scrap Iron Racing says, hi, y'all. Hello, sir. Good to see you in the chat. Hope I see you next month in Sykeston. We're now saying next month because it is soon. It's coming upon us. Mater says he'll be there, but nothing to race. Mater, you can race your daily in the bracket. Levi says, Tony, is it a pre-bent cage or custom? If it just needs welds, I could probably get down there on a weekend to weld it. There you go. RC called out the trash truck today. Well, that'll be great. Levi said it's a pretty simple tool, but I'd rather support a small business and spend my time doing something else. Also, get your American tools rebuilt. Listen, we all know there's a Harbor Freight and it gets us out of a pinch, but I'll tell you, these American tools, you know, when they put in 40, 50 years and they finally need to freshen up, isn't it good to be able to keep them? That's what they do here. They do a lot of impacts and jacks for the coal mines and everything else here. So it's a bustling little shop. Dean says, love me a person who can spell backwards. BNR says 1970 Trans Am Ram Air 4 4-speed at No Name Nationals 2025. Won't be there this time, but he tried to. Well, cool, man. Hopefully, we will run a 5th annual No Name Nationals, but don't count on it. Let's make every No Name Nationals count. Because if we don't, there won't be another one. BNR had $5,000 cash saved up to pay Steve Morris for machine work. Yeah, cool. Well, that's what it takes. Blue Grit says, hope we can get Anna's Mustang to the No Name Nationals and run as many friends as we can. Right on. Levi said it's an Ingersoll brand. Bought it when I was a CNC machinist. I'm quite certain that he could accommodate that. SRP says, wish you could move Sykeston up a month. Wish you could make it in September. That certainly is when people like it to be. It's the best all around. There's never going to be a date that 100% of people like. Never. But I will tell you, where it is right now seems to really work for a lot of people. JB said the trash truck will be there. That's a guarantee. You can count on JB like the sun rises and sets. That's the kind of person he is. I don't care what we're talking about. That's who JB is. There better be a 5th. That's right. If we want to have a 5th, we better have a good turnout for the 4th. We need to get more channels that want to get involved too. And I will tell you, you could always just pull the standards out from under it and grow it overnight. I realize that. That's easy. That's easy. I would love to have a 200-car field, but I do not want to do it at the expense of the kind of folks that are in our community. I will not do it that way, okay? So I know there's no question that we could have a 200-car field of folks like we have in this community, and that's what I want. If it takes slower growth, I'm good with that. Levi said, what ET you running? We could do a 10-0 cage in a day or two with the right tools. Yeah, like a MIG welded cage. B&R changed jobs, quit that Chicago, Illinois AAA, took 2 months to get back to work, took my old job back working on school buses. Well, that's cool. I tell you what, though, I could see you being really good at that. I've seen you do some shorts and stuff from that. Tony said he ran a 762 with it last year at No Name Nationals, and we've added at least 75 horsepower to it since then. SRP said it is the best weather. I actually like the August idea, and that was my backup date for the very first No Name Nationals when we had a scheduling snafu. Could have wound up being in August, but I think where we have it is about as good as it gets. B&R said the white 454 truck I raced 2 years at No Name Nationals got smoked by a lady that ran a red light. Yeah, I actually heard about that. What a bummer that is, man. That's awful. Yeah, that's a cool truck you had, too. I mean, I guess it's just completely totaled. Hope you weren't hurt. Tony says, I'd be willing to bet it'll go mid-sixes. So, yeah, you're like right on a 10-0 with that thing, aren't you? You're actually, yeah. You're not a 10-0. You're not quite. Not quite. Big Mike says, I'll be there. Can't promise which ride will make it, but at a minimum, the one I'm driving will. B&R says, the white 454 repairable, frame damaged. It's a bummer, man. Good news is that truck, there's a lot of parts available to it. SRP, what am I doing tomorrow? Well, I've got some housework, some yard work to do tomorrow. Got a few things I got to do tomorrow. One big one is some yard work. I was mowing today, and that the deck belt has just gotten kind of towards about at it. So I got 2 of them today. I'll throw one of those on there and do some mowing. I'm going to do some mowing for a friend too. So that'll make a 5th yard I'm going to be cutting this week. Try with the red 464 dually, 454 dually. Okay. All he has to race is the red 454 dually. Runs good, not his waist. Well, I'll tell you what, though, you're a racing dude. I bet you put 20 laps on that white pickup last year, and I thought that was great. We're getting to that, Colleen. I saw it the first time it was asked. I'm not going to announce it right now. B&R says, I found out that white 454 2500 has a 1-ton frame. Actually, was rare. Oh, wow. I had no idea. Indirect connection. What did I miss? Well, you missed me sounding like Darth Vader for the first minute of the live, and I'm glad I figured out and thought quick what it was. Apparently, I can't use the USB-C to plug my phone in at the same time I'm running that camera because it played havoc on it. And I tried a couple things, and then it occurred to me, oh, I bet it's that. When I unplugged it, it fixed it. Dean says, I'm not mowing lawns today because it's only 35 degrees Fahrenheit, foggy, and the track is heavy and wet. Well, yeah, I'll tell you what, your seasons, it's so interesting how their seasons are opposite from here. Yes, Danny Boyd, their seasons are opposite. Yeah, it's the middle of summer here, Dean. The weather's actually been pretty cool, though. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. So this is the one time a year I get to actually see everybody, and it's nice. It's an awfully, awfully busy time, but it's great to see everyone there. Dean, it's probably hard to cut your grass upside down. I don't know. I've been upside down while I've been cutting grass a time or two, but never voluntarily. Falling down some pretty good banks. JB says, I can't wait to be there. We look forward to seeing you. Cave Dave. Hey, John, I love all types of horsepower. Wednesday, I had to put down and bury one of my best horses because of a colic caused by the heat. Oh, man, that's unfortunate. That's too bad. I hate that. I like animals. I hate it when things happen to them. SRP says, freaking grass. Yes. All hands on deck on Tanya's Valiant. Yes, I get that. And now I got a leaking radiator on the CRV. Really? Yes. Just get a radiator in the van, and now the radiator leaks on the CRV. So I got to source one. But I got to tell you, if the factory Honda radiator went 23 years and 371,000 miles, that's what I want to put back in it. I don't want to put some Chinese radiator in there. Buff says it looks like we will have both cars this year. So you bringing that Zephyr in the dark? Is that what you're planning on bringing? Denso radiator for CRV, whatever it came with the CRV, whatever that is. Blue Grid, this is a funny comment. Blue Grid says, tomorrow I have an electronics engineer from a local military contractor coming over here to figure out the turn signals and neutral safety switch on Anna's Mustang. That should speed things up. I was thinking exactly the opposite. That dude will be making wiring diagrams, until October. But could be. BNR said it was super violent. Thought my chest exploded from my seatbelt. Yeah, I could see that. You have a picture of it? Can you email me a picture of it? I'd love to put it up on the screen if you want to show it. Glad you seem to be okay. 78 Zephyr and a 66 Star. Cool. Good. We'll see Team Bill Campo's fleet. That'll be nice. Injured the sternum bad? Yeah. Sounded like a bad wreck. Brazil picked up a barn find gasser built in the 60s on Saturday. That sounds neat. Neat, man. BNR said red dually with 454. I want cam lock racing seatbelts 4 points. Yeah, I could see when you've been in a wreck like that and had that kind of hit, I could see you wanting a harness that would be less of a hit. At least it spreads it out more like that. Izzy says that 283 hypo ought to run great. As long as you get the valves adjusted right, 283s do run great. Kokoda's here. Hello, sir. I don't know if y'all could hear that or not. Bunch of weirdness going on out there. BR said, stop the post. Jeff has photos. Maybe next week post here. Can you email me one? If you can, I'll put it up. You can tell Jeff to send one or something. I'm just if you want to, because people have seen that truck at No Name Nationals. So. BNR says going to continue driving home from Bloomington. Well, thanks for joining us, though. Thanks. I'm glad you got a chance to do so. Thank you. Appreciate you coming by. I just figured out what you meant when you said stop the post. Rabbit Transit Garage says, what a great Friday for me. Cleaning rusted terminals in the Barracuda fuse box. Listen to the live. That's a better Friday than some people have. I had a Friday that it was one of those Fridays where things just didn't go right in general, but, I'm not getting a twist about it. It's a beautiful day. People are healthy here and not starving and all of that stuff, so I'm calling that good. I had a calzone from Joe's Pizza today. How bad could the day be? Brazil says, Dizzy, I'm more interested in playing with the clutch flight transmission. I never have. I've had a few opportunities to buy one of those things, and I have not. I think I heard a rooster crow. No, it was something else. Mrs. One-Eyed Cat says, hello, everyone. Hello, Wendy. SR Pieces, I'm pretty hungry. Okay. Yeah, I had about 3/4 of it. I'll have the other quarter tonight. I had pepperoni and pineapple on it. They have good cheese there. Joe's does a good pizza. I'll call it the best pizza in Bluefield. I believe it is. Bluefield is not exactly known for having a lot of food options, although they really do have a good barbecue joint on the west end of town. They really do. RC says, I think I'm going to call it an evening. See you all in about 41 days. Right on, man. We'll see you there. BNR said, Club Coupe Dealy 454 I bought. I can't quite read that, but it's a Club Cab. What? Pineapple? No, a lot of people like pineapple on their pizza. I do too. Is the bubblegum box still there? Yes, it is. It's still there. I mean, you know it can't decompose, Jay. I mean, you know. They will be looking through the ruins of this shop one day, 100 years from now, and they'll find that. Thumper, hello, sir. Glad you could make it. I'm out in the shop thrashing on my 65, almost ready to start the engine. Long week. Cool. Sounds like you've got it going on. Thumper's getting it done. Yes, he is. I think Thumper's plan is to hit the No Name Nationals, then the ice cream cruise. I think that's what he likes to do, back to back. Big Mike said we had 51-day dry-aged New York strip steaks for supper tonight. 51-day aged beef Mike ate. 51 days that beef was aged. That's right. Dougster's here, says, have no fear, the Dougster is here. Unfinished project said, cut the mold off and go. Dougster always comes in for the fourth quarter. Yeah, we have a few people that like to slide in here and check things out in the fourth quarter. Thumper says, solid rollers on a hydraulic cam. Have a cruise tomorrow. If it rains, the GTO goes. If it's dry, the 68 goes. Cool. Wilburn, did you ever ride in the Transmatic truck? Yes. We took the Power Wagon out, I believe. Yes, we did. We took the Power Wagon out last time I was up. Talk about Rich's lasagna unfinished. Oh, my. Yes, that Transmatic truck is cool. We took it around the neighborhood and out back behind the shop. That was neat. Fear cannot be present when the Dougster is in attendance. Good. SRP, what happened to your sidekick? Which sidekick? What sidekick? Mean Street Mopar, howdy, sir. Our latest No Name 500 alumni. Is Dougster in the race? No, Dougster is not. But he has 384 subs. He can totally do it. What say you, Dougster? You've got 40 days and 2 hours and 29 minutes, and you only need 116 subs. You could almost panhandle that, you know, at Lambert's. You could totally do that, Doug. You talking about Dallas? So I've been live with Dallas many a times. I was live with him pretty regularly in 2022. I do this Friday night show generally by myself unless I have a guest on. But if you want to talk to Dallas, Wednesday nights, he is live with Professor P, Shane Polito, and they go back and forth. Sometimes it's on the American Hot Rod Association channel. It's usually on the Slant Daily Garage channel, and they have a great Tech Talk Live on Wednesdays. That's where you can catch him. With no ride to race, No Name Nationals. That's fine. Register. Race your daily. Max Wedge Dick Dastardly. Hello, sir. Glad you could make it. Can't hang because company showed up as soon as he tuned in, but thank you for stopping by. Big Mike said that Lars and JB have some fast hands. I was watching today's video and they were flying. I bet JB does have fast hands. You know, Mr. Kung Fu. I do not. My discipline is gun fu. Mater says, I don't have anything to race, but I'm going to watch and video. Well, you'll have a good time as a spectator, man. But check this out. You know how you can have all kinds of time to have a ride ready? Take that 41, add approximately 365, and that could be the orange paper in your head. But treat it as such. Then, even if you only work on it 10 minutes a day, you'll have something ready for 2026, provided we still run a 5th annual AHRA No Name Nationals. SRP, talk to Dallas. Talk to Dallas. Dallas had something pause with the AHRA here, and he is bringing things back. But talk to him. You can email him. Dougster says, was in North Dakota last weekend, drove into Montana via Williston, North Dakota. Cool. Max Wedge wants to know if Don's getting the car together. I hope so. I'm anxious to know how his transmission does. That was the first valve body I did with Cope's style shift kit. Yeah, it went together just beautifully. But, you know, you're always doing some little thing different, you know, and that was the different thing I did on his. Mater, what are you doing, man? Are you doing it or not? The guy with the dragster dropped his price to $300. I haven't responded to make him sweat. I'm not sweating over a $300 dragster one way or the other. I mean, you know, I can't imagine you're making him sweat over that. Stayed in North Dakota. I have never been to North Dakota. Don says the engine paint showed up today, so I have that going for me. Cool. What color are you doing the engine for that? Junkyard D says, when our population goes up by 1, we know. Right on. I've never been to North Dakota or South Dakota. Although I'm sure it will be interesting to note how different they are. Even though they both have the word Dakota in their names, I'm sure they are both very different. Like Virginia and West Virginia are very different. Yeah, does the HOA approve of it, Mater? Dougster says Theodore Roosevelt National Park is absolutely beautiful. I'll tell you what, I hear that. That whole area is beautiful. Justin Hill from Idaho. Hello, sir. Thank you for dropping by. I have no idea. Talk to DV about that. Talk to DV. I mean, I will tell you. Talk to him. Yeah, look him up. Shoot him a message. I'm sure he has an email on his channel. Just email him. Dean Stevens says, Hemi Orange or Ram Chargers Wedge Red. Colleen says, I lived in South Dakota for 13 years. Okay. I've never been to that part. Of course, I've flown out to the west and been to Oregon. I've been to California. Not much of it, of course, although I did drive up about 3 hours through the northern part to get to the very part of southern Oregon where I had class. And, of course, Las Vegas, but not, the rest of Las Vegas. Not the rest of Nevada, which is huge. So you just see these little select places that aren't representative of the state. But I've never been through any of that part of the West where North and South Dakota are. Nader says that's why he's hoping the doctor says he can go back to work, get some income. Yeah, good, man. I hope so, too. I hope that hand is healing well. I'm just saying I don't think that seller's going to sweat over any $300. Justin Hill said, anyone ever been to Idaho? Well, we know Bear Rose Garage has, but that said, in Landon, but who in here in the chat has ever been to Idaho? I have never been there. Later, Max Wage, Dick Dasher, thanks for coming by, buddy. So Jason has. Of course, he's a trucker. That makes sense why he would have been through there. T's Good Time Garage has been to Idaho because he's just down the road in Utah many times. I've never been to Utah. I thought about going to Utah the last time I was in Las Vegas. I thought that's a few hours to make that road trip just across the state line. I said, you know what? Maybe another time I'll go when I can actually go there with purpose. If you're supposed to get a book from him, email him. If you want to email me, email me. I mean, that's fine. I'll send it to him. We'll get to the bottom of it. I don't know anything about that. We had a fundraiser for St. Jude's one time that just came up randomly. Tim72 Demon says, hey, John, made it, called it quits. Almost 100 degrees all day out there under my pickup. Time for a cold one. Colleen says, I miss being able to watch thunderstorms grow from 50 miles away. Only had to go to the ground once for a tornado. Sounds pretty wild. Mohawk said, I drove big trucks through every state west of Mississippi. Wow. Have any of you guys ever been to all 50 states? Or have you ever been to the 48 continental states? I've been to about half of them. Dexter says we traveled 2,030 miles, almost 40 hours of windshield time, and a $530 fuel bill. That's not a bad fuel bill for all of that. My friend Dusty bought an F-350 boxing cab for Montana. Amazing shape by Michigan. Oh, I bet. Michigan's just, they look like they've been in the tree shredder from Fargo. Yeah, sounds cool. We raised it about a gross to grand, and then I covered the difference where Google takes 30%. Danny Boy's been about 20, 25 states. Mohawk has been, except Hawaii. So you've been to all 48 lower states. That's cool. I never really had any real desire to go to Hawaii, but my mom always wanted to go. I wanted to send her and Dad to Hawaii one year. Never could quite make that happen. Indirect Connection's been to 48 continental states and 3 Canadian provinces. Justin Hill says Stephen has. Okay. Doakster said his dad's a retired truck driver and has driven all 48 states in the continental and most of Canada. Wow. I've never been to Canada either. The One-Eyed Cat says, my Valiant has been to Vegas. Okay. That's been a while. See, as much as I would like driving those places, and it does make it easier, and I could take Jethro and all of that stuff, the problem is you lose an entire week because just driving out there and driving back, that's a week. So if you want to spend a week out there, you have to now have two. This is going to take you half a week to get there and half a week to get back. I don't know, LB Bruins. Maybe I have worms. Dean says, what happens in Vegas happens only in Chevrolets. I don't know. The one thing I've ever been in Vegas in was a rental car. Mean Street Mopar says, I've only been to 11 states. What are they? With 160 characters or whatever, you can tell us what all 11 are. What are they? I'm curious. I know Mississippi, I know Tennessee, and I know Missouri. I know those, but what states have you been to there, Mean Street? What would Hunter S. Thompson do? Probably something that involves a green leaf and fire. Indirect connection will go to Hawaii, but he doesn't think a Freightliner will float that far. Dizzy has been to 23 states, 2 Canadian provinces, and the Bahamas. I survived the Bermuda Triangle on a cruise. I'd like to go on a cruise. I wish I could take Jethro on a cruise, but I don't think it would work very well. I would like to go on a cruise. Never have. Thumper says, easier to say the ones I haven't been to. That's what my dad did. He named a couple he hasn't been to. Thumper's never been to California, Arizona, Idaho, Montana, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, Hawaii, and Alaska. Also around 40 countries in Asia, Europe, and Africa. Yeah, that's kind of like Dad. Same thing with Dad. There's only a handful of states he hadn't been to, and he said he'd been to a whole bunch of other places no one ever wanted to go. Danny Boyd's been to 19 states. Buckdale Campos had been to all except North Dakota, Maine, Vermont, and Rhode Island. Wendy says, Dawn and I want to go on a cruise. SRP, can you show where you donated to St. Jude? I sent it to their donation link and donated in gross. If you don't think I did, I'm going to pull a receipt. I'm glad to. I have to figure out how. They gave me a donation link, and I put the donation link at the bottom. Now, I don't know whoever used that, but I know that I took that and donated it. It was about $1,000. If you go to, there's a community post I did where I made a mosaic of donations on there, and I think I got them all on there, so you can total that up, and it's whatever that was in gross. So even though Google took 30%, I donated that in gross. Izzy says Hunter Thompson's IQ drove him nuts. I could see that. Clayton's Toolbox. I have been to 8 U.S. states, 5 Canadian provinces, Mexico, and Jamaica. 8 U.S. states. But 5 Canadian provinces, Mexico, and Jamaica. Which 8? Curious. Indecisive Garage says, hello to everyone. Sorry I'm late. We had 200 people on camp for the last 3 weeks, and I'm worn out. No time for nothing. I'll tell you what, make some shorts and some things that you do, man. You're still going to make it. You got the most ground to cover, but I'm telling you, once you get up above 300, you're going to be close chipping away. You might have to get the cardboard sign out at Lambert's, but you're going to make it, man. And if you make it, you're the one who's farthest away, but that's going to be a 100% graduation rate for No Name 500, and I find that exciting. Bader says Bahamas, Jamaica, Grand Cayman, and Mexico on my cruise ships. Old McDonald's been to 20 U.S. states. Seems like most people here have been to about half the states, except like over-the-road truckers like Indecisive Garage and some of these people. Dean wants to know if that's a metric wrench. There's a link to Indecisive Garage. If you've not gone yet, checked out Tim's channel, please do so. Lizzie says, Dean, I had 4 hidden monsters hunting near me in 2012. My crypt ID story, or cryptic? So Clayton states are California, Washington, Idaho, Montana, Florida, North Carolina, Illinois, and Texas. So obviously you flew south. Well, that's interesting. So you must have taken all the car trips flying to Florida, North Carolina, and Texas, because how could you have gotten to any of the others without driving through more? So that kind of makes sense. You've just flown those places. You can do it. Just don't give up. You're close, man. You're over halfway, and I really think you can do it. We're going to help you out. Lone Ranch Garage, he is getting there going live. He's well over 300. He's going to make it. And Stinger Salvage is a shoe-in because he's less than 50 away, fewer than 50 away, I should say. You're going to get it. You got more ground to cover up, but you're going to do it. Colleen says Wyoming is the farthest west I've been. Well, I've been I've been to the West Coast, but there's so much in the middle that I flew over. Tim's 72 Demon, I've been to all 50 states, 48 in my big rig. Okay. Yeah, the truckers seem to have just been to all of them. 12 for Mater. And add Utah to that for Clayton. Main Street Mopars, Tennessee, of course, Missouri, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Illinois, Arkansas, West Virginia, Virginia, South Carolina, and Kentucky, I think. Okay, so you've toured the Southeast pretty well. You're not counting the states you live in, Mississippi, so you have toured the Southeast pretty well. I toured the Southeast pretty well early and then branched out, did a little more travel than that. Big Mike says, I worked in commercial masonry in my younger years building Walmart garden center walls. Oh, that's neat. Was on the road for a couple of years. So they just hired you to build a lot of stuff like that, huh? Indirect Connection says, I'd love to run the Hall Road in Alaska, but I'd have to quit my job to do it and have 15 years of seniority and 4 weeks of vacation. Yeah, I understand that. You like to run the ice road? SRP says, I've been everywhere, man. You have? That's cool. 19 for T. You know what? I'm glad I asked this question because it seems like a lot of you folks seem to have kind of honed in on about half the states on average, with the truckers getting to all of them. But that does seem to be kind of average. The truckers get all of them. Some people stick a little closer to home, but it seems like most of you guys are about half. Turbo Thomas has been to most states with roller coasters. No, Colleen has been farther than that. Spent 2 weeks in Portland for work. Yeah. I did ride from San Jose, California to Santa Cruz, and then in that car all the way back here. So I have done it by road once, and that was west to east. Kim 72 Demon says, been on an Alaskan cruise, 9 more cruises to the Caribbean. Those were great. Cool. Neat. So you've been on 10 cruises altogether. It seems like most people don't go on one cruise. They go on one, then want to go on more. I have never been. Cruises are like bumper stickers and tattoos. You never see anybody with one. Duxter likes the state of drunkenness, just not as much as he used to. There's Dean with his typical weird comment. New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut. I've never been up in that New England area. Or people think you're a Yankee hater. How do you know we're not? No, I've never been up in that area at all. I know that one of my cousins said if I ever go to New York City, he wants to go just to watch how people would receive me there. SRP wants to take a cruise through West Virginia before anything. I'm looking at southern West Virginia right here. I'm maybe a mile or so from the state line. Could be a little more, mile and a half. Indecisive Garages, I even took an oversized load to Mexico City with the Federales riding on board. Oh, cool. Indirect Connection says, Doug, it's easy not to get drunk if you don't go and get sober. Okay. I remember one time, and I think it was for a TV show, Penn Jillette said he was at an AA meeting, and he stood up and said he's been sober for whatever it was, he said, like 50 years or however old he was at the time, because he's never had a drink. I'm one of those people. Wrong English says West Virginia every year for our family reunion. Well, that's on the opposite end of the state. I'm as far south in the state of West Virginia as you can possibly get. In fact, I just drove across the farthest southern state line crossing in the state of West Virginia. Dust Devil Garage Brian, howdy. He says, made it before the end. Hope you've had a good live. Well, we have. We had about 1 minute of bad audio at the beginning, but it didn't seem to hurt a thing. Figured it out pretty quickly. Yeah, I know. Dust Devil Brian comes in and perks up the crowd. I like Dust Devil Brian. Glad he's here. Danny Boy says West Virginia is awesome. It has some awesome things about it. Indeed, it does. Kind of hard for us to step back and think about that sometime, being from this area, because we get to see some of the very unflattering stuff. SRP says, I've been everywhere in West Virginia. I'm not that well traveled in West Virginia, but I've certainly been to the southern part a lot. Aunt D is here. Hello. Glad you could make it. Wrong English says Gasaway, Central West Virginia. Okay. Oh, yeah. Hope y'all work something out on that cage. Two talented guys. I'm sure you can put something together good for that. Danny Boyd says, if I was there, I would be the unflattering stuff. Perhaps. You never know. Danny Boyd, you need to come out to No Name Nationals. We'd sure love to meet you in person. West Virginia is beautiful. A lot of it is. It is. I'll tell you a pretty neat drive is when I go up to see Cope in Indiana, I'll take 460 through Virginia, about an hour of Virginia, and then I get on the West Virginia Turnpike at the southern end, and then pay a whole bunch of road tolls, and it's dark and all that, but it's usually daylight is coming right as I get through all that, and it's a pretty wild view, a twisty, turny interstate, all up through there, going up through Beckley and Charleston and that way, and then I cross into Ohio, and then the pretty part of the drive is gone. But yeah. Big Mike said, I think it was last year, we went into Louisa, Kentucky, and across the Cool Bridge to Fort Gay, West Virginia. There is a 300-foot dragway in Fort Gay, West Virginia. There's that one. There's another 300-foot dragway, I want to say in Kentucky. It's just so hilly and mountainous, they didn't even have room for anything more. But Fort Gay, West Virginia has a 300-foot dragway. And if you go there and you don't know that, if you go to their website and don't know that, look at their track record, you're like, whoa. But then you realize, no, it's because it's 300 feet. But I just think it'd be kind of neat to go watch a race there sometime. I just never have. And that Fort Gay, I think, is pretty close to Huntington. I want to say it's over on that western part in the middle of the state. I kind of like that area too. It's a nice looking area. Take the back roads. Okay. When I can. Danny Boyd says he's visited his grandparents in Clarksburg. Their store was across the street from the county courthouse. There was a guy sleeping on the courthouse lawn in the afternoon on a Saturday. Well, you can see that in Bluefield any given day. You kidding? I heard there was a guy playing jazz out in front of a laundromat up here a few days ago. I mean, we see goofy stuff out here in front of the shop regularly. Back when even bums dressed nice. People today, by and large, are utterly classless, me included. Dean Stevenson says there's only 8 things I need to know about West Virginia. Oh, my goodness. Dean Stevenson says, how many Patriots, Revolutionaries, Continentals, Colonials, Rebels, Yankees, or Whigs? Where's 2 on your list? Who knew the champ like jazz? I don't think it couldn't be the champ. Didn't get a good look at him, but he was nothing the same color as the champ, so it couldn't be him. SRP says, I'm not even from West Virginia, but love the state. Well, I knew you weren't from West Virginia because of the way you love the state. If you guys have ever seen that series, Soft White Underbelly, that Mark Laida does on YouTube with the Whitakers, those people, that is 1 county to the north of here. I am not kidding. 1 county north of here. And if you've ever seen the snake handling churches in Jolo, there's 2 of them, I think. If you've ever seen that on TV, the Jolo snake handling, where they have the poisonous snakes and all that stuff, and occasionally people get bit and die from them, and they still do this. That's 1 county. 1 county to kind of the northeast is where the Whitakers are, and 1 county kind of to the northwest is where the snake handling churches are. Dean Stevenson says they seem like my kind of kinfolk. Well, you know, it's I've never been to see any of that. I was the place where I was born is about, gosh, I don't know, a couple hundred yards east of here. It's a parking lot now. Big Mike says my step family is from one of those snake handling church areas. Yeah, well, that's the Jolo, West Virginia snake handling churches. I think there's actually more than 1. Danny Boyd says snakes don't belong in worship and they don't belong as pets. Well, that's what those people do. And occasionally they get bit and get sick and maybe die. You grew up in town? Well, I grew up in the Bluefield area, Bluefield, Virginia, and West Virginia. I was born in Bluefield, West Virginia. I mean, just a few blocks maybe 1 block that way, and it's torn down now. That's where I was born. McDowell County, yes, that's where the snake handling churches are. And in Raleigh County is where the Whitakers are. So it depends how you leave Mercer, which area. But, yeah. We border both of those counties here. Dizzy says, I'm going to visit Virginia Beach and Williamsburg. Williamsburg is great. In fact, if you're going to visit Williamsburg and Jamestown. Go out to Jamestown Island. That's worth your while. Virginia Beach, yeah, if you want to go to the beach, cool. But take the time to go to Jamestown. Take the ferry and go out there. But with that, we're over our time today. And we went an extra minute, I guess, to make up for the Darth Vader audio earlier in the show. But thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate it. I want to give a big shout out and thanks to Larry's Pneumatic Service here in Bluefield for being gracious enough to host me, because I could not be back in Christiansburg to do the live from there tonight. So they helped me out in the pinch, and I really appreciate that. If you guys do want to have any of your old AHRA electric hydraulic tools serviced and want to save those old American-made tools instead of replacing them with Harbor Freight, this is the place to do it. Reach out to me. I'll get you hooked up. Also, don't forget to check out Tech Talk Live on Wednesday with Dallas and Professor P. There's a link to the show right there. They have a great tech show there on Wednesdays, and they both have plans and aspirations to come to the No Name Nationals as well. Also, if you have questions about the Triple Crown class for AHRA that's going to be running at the No Name Nationals, that's the place to ask it. Danny Boy wants to know where the cat is. The cat is right there in the window. And with that, we're going to call it an evening. Thank you guys for coming out. I will see you all next Friday.